welcome to HITC Sport. Right, so this is shaping up to be a pretty boring transfer window. Lads, we're in the middle of June, give us a goddamn transfer. So instead, let's just take a look at the worst ever transfer window for each Premier League club. Like when Arsenal spent half their budget on a walking forehead. Arsenal summer 2011. I'm not sure who was in charge of transfers at Arsenal in the summer 2011, but I can only imagine they had the brains of a diabetic sheep. That's the only explanation I can find for chucking 10 million at Gervinho. That summer the club made close to 70 million pounds from the sales of Cesc Fabregas, Samir Nasri and Gael Clichy, and reinvested it on guff. The first team players that came in: Gervinho, a teenage Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, André Santos, a left back who couldn't tell his arse from his elbow, the aging pair of Per Mertesacker and Mikel Arteta, Monaco's Park Chu-young, a fella who was on the verge of getting chucked in the goddamn army, £1 million on Joel Campbell. Oh, and let's not forget that summer was the beginning of Carl Jenkinson's 8-year reign of terror. This window was like going to the cinema, pouring out your tub of popcorn and filling it up with horse manure. Aston Villa summer 2011. If you're looking for a summer from hell, this was it. After finishing 9th in the league, out goes the likes of Brad Friedel, Ashley Young and Stuart Downing. Yes, he was good once. And in comes Charles Nzogbi, Shea Given and Alan Hutton. Oh, and to top it off, your new manager is Alex McLeish, a man who was recently outwitted by a plumber from Kazakhstan. Bournemouth, January 2019. I'm not going to go too far back for Bournemouth because I don't really need to. Eddie Howe's January shopping consisted of Chris Mepham from Brentford for £13 million, and before chucking 19 million quid at Dominic Solanke. If he'd used the same carelessness when Christmas shopping for his kids, he'd have probably bought them 3 bags of coal and a half-eaten cat. Brighton summer 2014. The summer 2014 was rough for Brighton fans. Sami Hyypiä was announced as manager and went about dismantling the squad. 8 players were released and starlets Leonardo Ulloa and Will Buckley were sold. In their place, an ancient Aaron Hughes, Paddy McCourt and Chris O'Grady. A striker who'd gone to score once in 31 league games for them. Which just begs the question, why the hell did they keep picking him? Burnley summer 2018. I could say January 2019 for the most pointless window Burnley have ever had. Just consisted of a swap deal involving Sam Vokes and a human stepladder from Stoke. But no, instead I think last summer was worse. I still think more should have been done to keep Scott Arfield from Rangers. And in terms of reinforcements, £15 million on Ben Gibson, then Matai Vydra from Derby County, and now the forgotten shampoo salesman that is Joe Hart. Last summer it just seemed like the club had some sort of sick obsession with signing shit players, and yet still the phone never rang for poor old Paul McShane. Chelsea summer 2007. Okay, the summer 2017 deserves an honourable mention, where the club decided to just flush their wallet down the f***ing toilet. £185 million was spent on Antonio Rudiger, Timo Bakayoko, Alvaro Morata, David Zabacosta, and Danny f***ing Drinkwater, whilst getting rid of the likes of Nemanja Matic, Juan Cuadrado and Diego Costa. Just ridiculous. But no, instead I'm going to go back 10 years, when Chelsea responded to losing their title to Manchester United by signing the likes of Claudio Pizarro, Tal Ben Haim, Fabio Borini and Steve Sidwell for a combined fee of nothing. Did Abramovich just seem to forget that he was a multi-billionaire? Was someone at the club living in a time warp thinking it was 1998? Because lads, Chelsea weren't a mid-table club anymore. It's like somebody winning the X Factor of the weekend and then just going back to work to serve out sloppy joes down the local canteen. It's like winning the lottery and still choosing to rummage through your local bin bags for your f***ing dinner. Speaking of which, back off, that food is mine. Add to that, the club shipped out Arjen Robben, Glenn Johnson and Lassana Diarra, 3 players who'd gone to have pretty stellar careers, and it was just a laughable window. Although they did sign Falar Malouda from Lyon for 13 million. It wasn't all bad, but it was still pretty bad. Crystal Palace, summer 2006. Okay, let's go back to summer 2006 for this one. Top scorer and Palace talisman Andy Johnson was finally sold to Everton for £6 million, joining Mikel Letterwood and Emerson Boyce out the exit door. In their place, Carl Fletcher, James Scoutcraft and marquee signing Big Shepke Kuchi, a man who was apparently hungry for goals. He looks more hungry for anything coated in £6 of f***ing sugar. Everton, summer 2011. With Everton, I nearly went with the summer 2016. Blowing over £30 million on Yannick Bolasie wasn't clever, and replacing John Stones with Ashley Williams was pure lunacy. But instead, let's revisit the summer 2011 for a third time this video. Christ above, the lads in charge of transfers of Premier League clubs must have been all drinking from the same tap water. While Arsenal and Villa were both stripped for parts, Everton didn't do much other than just sort of bend over and let the potential vultures reach inside, fleecing them for all they were worth. It looked like nothing was happening. Another dead summer at Goodison Park before transfer deadline day, where the likes of Mikel Arteta, Yakubu and Jermaine Beckford were ushered out the door, with the Toffees not really having any time to sign any replacements. It's like leaving your Christmas shopping until 11 PM on Christmas Eve. You know all you're going to end up with is a bag of raisins and a f***ing divorce. Leicester City, summer 2016. To be honest, the summer 2016 could have been worse for Leicester. Jamie Vardy and Riyad Mahrez were both sitting targets after that league title win, but no, instead out goes N'Golo Kante to Chelsea for 32 million. In comes Napolis Mendy, Ahmed Musa and Islam Slimani for a combined fee of £57 million. Lads, 87% of Kante's transfer fee was spent on the Algerian. Slimani cost £28 million, scored 8 goals, and was just then sentenced to a bunch of pointless loan deals for the remainder of his contract. I hope whoever sanctioned that transfer has since had his head jammed in a toaster. Liverpool, summer 2014. Now don't get me wrong, Liverpool's transfer window in 2009 reads like something out of a Stephen King novel. In comes Aquilani, Kikriakis and Johnson. Out goes Arbeloa, Alonso and any lingering hope for the summer. The summer 2014 though, that was just painful to watch. Desperate to preserve what had been a great title challenge that season, they followed it up by selling Luis Suarez and replacing him with Balotelli, Moreno, Origi, yes, I know, Markovic, Lallana and Ricky Lambert, giving the world a first-class guide of how to blow 100 million quid in one summer. I'd like to see Mr. Beast try that one. But lads, do you see a pattern here? The last 2 times Liverpool have finished second in the league, they followed it up by showing about as much composure in the transfer market as Joe Weller in a boxing ring. Remind me, where did Liverpool finish last season? Man City, summer 2012. I could have gone for January 2005, when Man City responded to Fenerbahce signing Nicolas Anelka by just crying in the shower. But no, their winter transfer window 10 years later was also an embarrassment of finance control, doing nothing else but spending 30 million quid on Wilfred Boney. Again, whoever sanctioned that should probably be carried off by men in white coats. But no, I'm gonna go with the summer 2012. With City looking to strengthen their grip on top spot by spending over £20 million on Jack Rodwell and Scott Sinclair. 2 lads whose careers have since been flushed into oblivion. Richard Wright was also drafted in to sit on the bench. Maicon was signed from Inter Milan, having never recovered from that one night he had to mark Gareth Bale. Over 30 million quid was also spent on Matej Nastasic and Javi Garcia, not to be confused with the man who has since made me sleep in a bin. But at least one good thing came of that summer. Adam Johnson was shipped as far away from Manchester as humanly possible. Man United, summer 2009. So, you sell Cristiano Ronaldo, the current Ballon d'Or winner, for 80 million quid. Suddenly, with a record transfer fee burning a hole in your pocket, your club is linked with the likes of Arjen Robben, Frank Ribery, David Silva, Sergio Aguero, and so instead you sign Antonio Valencia, Michael Owen, and Gabby Obertan. Oh, and Mame Biram Juff. United fans couldn't be blamed for thinking this was some sort of sick joke. It's like getting 80 quid for Christmas and going out and spending that on a pair of socks. Newcastle, January 2005. I mean, the summer 2014 is worth a mention, purely for the interminable dross that was dragged through the door. But instead, let's revisit January 2005, where Graham Souness proved just why he's now been relegated to ranting about Paul Pogba every second week. After his time in Newcastle, I wouldn't even trust him with a pair of scissors, let alone the keys to a football club. With Newcastle in dire need of an overhaul in January 2005. Souness went out and signed Celestine Babayaro, John Along Boomsong and MD Fi, all the while chucking fan favourites Olivier Bernard and more forgivably Craig Bellamy in the goddamn bin. To say Babayaro was a disappointment on Tyneside is a massive understatement. The man defended with all the grace of an epileptic goose. MD Fi was forgettably useless, while Boomsong, it takes a special type of terrible to make Titus Bramble look competent. Then again, that's definitely not me saying Bramble was any good by any stretch. It's a bit like putting Joey Essex beside something out of Love Island. Yeah, he might look like an intellectual by comparison, but make no mistake about it, the man probably can't even tie his own shoelaces. Norwich City, January 2016. So, Norwich was struggling in the top flight during the 15-16 season, and so Alex Neil's final roll of the dice was to rid the club of Elliot Bennett, Lewis Graben and Gary Hooper, and instead sign Ben Godfrey, Tim Close, and God help us all, Stephen Naismith for £8.5 million. Did not work. Sheffield United, summer 2009. Well, the summer 2009 wasn't great for Sheffield United. Out goes both Kyle Naughton and Kyle Walker to Spurs. In comes Mark Yates, Richard Cresswell and Lee Williamson. I mean, I suppose they did sign Ched Evans for Man City, who did pretty well, but even he got dragged off to prison after 3 goddamn years. Southampton, summer 2016. Okay, I know Nathan Redmond and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, both signed in July 2016, were decent acquisitions, but I'm sorry. The bad largely outweighed the good for Southampton that summer. Out goes Sadio Mane, Victor Wanyama and Graziano Pelle. In comes Redmond, Højbjerg, Alex McCarthy, and they spent £16 million on Sofiane Boufal. They downgraded massively. Tottenham, summer 2008. Well, the summer 2008 didn't get off to a great start for Spurs. Stuck in a legal battle with Palace over the teenage John Bostock. Just proved a lot of time and effort for a lad who didn't even turn out any good. It's like squabbling with your ex-wife for custody of your son, only for him to turn out like Paul McShane. No, get back in the fucking bin. Right, the signing of Luka Modric was a positive one, probably the only positive. Outwinned a bunch of fan favourites, along with one of the most deadliest strike partnerships in Europe, with Dimitar Berbatov and Robbie Keane both sold to Man United and Liverpool respectively. In comes Giovanni Dos Santos, next Ronaldinho my arse, Cornelio Gomez, big fat meh, David Bentley, couldn't wait to retire, Roman Pavlyuchenko and veteran Corluka. Oh, and I almost forgot, Fraser Campbell on loan. Watford, January 2007. I'm not sure what Watford were thinking in January 2007. Struggling at the foot of the Premier League. They did nothing except allow their only ray of sunshine, Ashley Young, back when he was an exciting young player, instead of this walking Zimmer frame who lets pigeons take a dump in his mouth, to walk to Villa for 8 million quid. Although, no, to be fair, it's not like they did nothing. I mean, it signed Will Hoskins, Gareth Williams and Steve Cabba. Why didn't they just sew championship badges back onto their kits while they were at it? West Ham, January 2017. The West Ham board chose to spend the first month of 2017 sanctioning the sale of Dimitri Payet to Marseille for £25 million. Does it help to know that in the week he was sold, your club essentially blew his transfer fee on Jose Font and Robert Snodgrass? Wolves, summer 2006. Alright, Wolves, summer 2006. Sold were Julian Lescott to Everton, Shoal Ki-hyun to Reading, and both Kenny Miller and Lee Naylor to Celtic. 4 key players. In comes Carl Henry, Jamie Clapham, Jay Bothroyd, Charlie Mulgrew, and an aging Gary Breen. Alright, that's the end of the video, lads. Let me know, what was your worst transfer window that you had at your club? Let me know, have I got any of these wrong? Any of these right? More to the point. Twitter and Instagram is there if you want to follow me on that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.